8 outboard engines that will destroy your wallet. And 3 worth every penny. 8 specific outboard buying decisions that have genuinely emptied bank accounts, and 3 engines where every dollar spent actually holds up. Some of these are not about a single bad engine. They are about decisions that turn a reasonable purchase into a financial disaster nobody saw coming until the bill showed up. Number 8. The discontinued 7 Marine lineup, specifically buying one used today without understanding what you're inheriting. 7 Marine built some of the most powerful outboards ever sold, the 527, the 557, and the 627, all based on a supercharged GMV8 platform. The 627 alone made 627 horsepower at a time when nothing else came close, and buyers paid well over $100,000 per engine for that distinction. But Volvo Penta bought the company and shut it down completely in 2021. That means every 7 Marine engine still on the water today is running on a shrinking pool of parts and a shrinking pool of mechanics who know how to service them. A collector's piece is a fun thing to own. A collector's piece you depend on to get home from 40 miles offshore is a different kind of risk entirely, and that risk only grows as more years pass without a single new part being manufactured. Number 7. Custom paint and lighting packages on racing outboards. This sounds like a small detail, but it adds up fast. Engines like Mercury's 400R and 450R commonly get ordered in custom color-matched paint with LED lighting kits. And that customization routinely adds thousands of dollars per engine on top of the base price, which already starts around $35,000 new. On a boat running 4 or 5 of these in a matched color scheme, the paint and lighting alone can rival the cost of an entire other outboard. None of it adds horsepower. All of it adds invoice total. Number 6. Any multi-engine racing rig bought without pricing out what a single prop strike actually costs across that many motors at once. A boat running 4 400Rs has roughly 2,000 horsepower on the transom, and if that boat hits something at speed, you're not looking at one repair bill. You're potentially looking at damage across multiple units simultaneously depending on how the impact transfers through the rigging. Buyers focused on the headline horsepower number often don't run that math until something happens on the water. Number 5. Newer Chinese manufactured outboards bought purely on the sticker price difference without checking service availability first. Engines like the Parson F350 have launched at roughly $18,500, compared to around $42,000 for a comparable Mercury Verado, an enormous gap on paper. But several major US dealers reportedly responded by refusing to service these engines at all if they wanted to keep their authorization with established brands. And the nearest parts warehouse for at least one of these manufacturers has been reported as being in Vancouver, with multi-week shipping times for basic components. Insurance companies have also been reported declining to cover boats running these engines, citing unproven reliability and a lack of service infrastructure. The sticker price savings can evaporate fast the first time something breaks 50 miles from the nearest qualified shop. Number 4. Any racing outboard bought without budgeting for fuel consumption at speed. Multi-engine setups built for top speed runs aren't measured in miles per gallon. They're measured in gallons per mile, and operators of these rigs openly joke about it. A wide-open throttle run on a quad or 6-pack setup can burn through fuel at a rate that makes a single afternoon on the water cost more in gas than most people's monthly boat payment. That's not a one-time cost. That's every single time you actually use the boat the way it was built to be used. Number 3. Charter and commercial boats running unproven engine technology without a backup plan. Charter operators who've dealt with extended downtime on newer or less established platforms have reported losing entire bookings to cancellations while waiting on parts or repairs. For a business that depends on the boat running every single day during season, an engine choice that looks fine on a spec sheet but comes with a thin service network can cost far more in lost income than it ever saved on the purchase price. Number 2. 6-engine mega rigs on the largest center consoles being built today. Builders have mounted up to 6 Mercury 512 engines on a single hull, putting north of 3,600 horsepower on one transom. At that scale, you are spending more on engines alone than most people spend on an actual house before the boat itself is even factored into the price. This is the extreme end of the spectrum, and it exists specifically because a small number of buyers want the absolute ceiling regardless of what it costs to get there. Number 1. The single biggest wallet destroyer on this entire list: buying any high-horsepower outboard without first confirming there's a catastrophically qualified dealer within a reasonable distance. This shows up across every brand, every price point, and every horsepower range. An engine that's perfectly reliable on paper becomes catastrophically expensive the moment something breaks, and the nearest qualified technician is hours away, charging emergency rates, with parts on backorder for weeks. Owners in this situation often describe losing entire seasons of boating while waiting on a single part that a closer dealer could have had on hand. The actual cost of an outboard was never just the number on the invoice. It's the number on the invoice plus everything that happens the first time you actually need it fixed, and that second number is the one nobody budgets for in advance. So that's 8 ways an outboard purchase can quietly destroy a budget. Before we get to the 3 where the money is well spent, there's one simple habit that prevents most of what's on that list. Before buying anything above the entry-level horsepower range, call the closest 2 or 3 dealers for that specific brand and ask how long their current parts backlog runs, and ask whether they actually service the model you're looking at or just sell it. A 5-minute phone call before you sign anything tells you more about the real cost of ownership than any spec sheet ever will, and it costs nothing to ask. Number 3. The Suzuki DF350. Now for the 3 where the money is genuinely well spent. This 4.4-liter V6, producing 350 horsepower, was the first production outboard with dual contra-rotating propellers, and that single feature delivers real, measurable value beyond the spec sheet. Better grip in rough water means less wasted throttle fighting for traction, which means better fuel efficiency for the horsepower delivered. Combined with a timing chain design instead of a timing belt, there is no belt replacement interval to budget for, which quietly saves money every single year you own it. Number 2. Yamaha's 4-stroke lineup as a whole. The 1,000-hour margin mechanics described with Yamaha translates directly into dollars. An engine that reliably runs past 3,000 hours before needing major work costs less per hour of actual use than one that needs a rebuild at half that mark, even if the upfront price is similar. Commercial operators who calculate cost in dollars per hour of operation have shifted toward Yamaha for exactly this reason. And that's not branding, that's arithmetic. Number 1. The Honda BF350. Released in 2023 as Honda's first V8 outboard, it runs on regular 86-octane fuel rather than anything premium, and Honda's automotive engineering heritage shows up directly in long service intervals that mean few wrench days per season. It's not the engine you buy to win a horsepower argument at the dock. It's the engine you buy when you've decided that argument doesn't actually matter. And what you want instead is something that keeps running without draining your account every time it needs attention. So that's the real list. 8 ways an outboard purchase can quietly destroy a budget, and 3 places where the spending genuinely pays you back. The pattern running through almost every wallet-destroying decision on this list isn't really about horsepower or even about brand. It's about buying the headline number and skipping the math on everything that comes after it. Which one of these caught you off guard? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this one.